Good evening, I'm Mike Dodd. Headlining tonight's news, thousands of Australians in the major capital cities today marched in protest at the growth of nuclear arms around the world. Israeli guerrillas have completely destroyed the homes of the 4 terrorists who hijacked a bus on Friday. Launceston runner Garth Foley today won the 1984 Tasmanian Marathon, and the weather outlook is for some rain developing. Israeli guerrillas have completely destroyed the homes of the 4 terrorists who hijacked a bus on Friday, in which several people were killed. The homes were completely burnt to the ground as an act of reprisal against the hijack.
Palestinian hijackers were identified within 2 hours of the Israeli army storming the bus and shooting them. All of them were an area which has been quiet of late.
A renewed search is underway near the New South Wales coast town of Narooma for the body of 5-year-old Renee Aitken, who police now believe was murdered. 12 police officers from the Wollongong Search and Rescue Squad are concentrating their search in an area about 20 kilometres south of Narooma between the towns of Central Tilba and Dignams Creek. A spokesman for Narooma Police says the area is being searched because of an unusual smell.
Renee was taken is deserted now. Her mother and brother fled to Melbourne to escape memories and be with relatives outside the general search area, again without success.
A campaign is underway in Victoria to secure the release of a company director imprisoned nearly 2 years ago over divorce action. A retired Melbourne City Councillor has taken up the case of Douglas Harper, jailed in August 1982 for contempt of court for refusing to pay his wife alimony. Maxine Gray reports.
When he was jailed 20 months ago, the family court said Douglas Harper had tried to hide his assets behind a corporate veil, claiming the assets...
The sentence should be known, so that he knows exactly where he is.
Prime Minister Bob Hawke says the housing industry needs to consolidate its position after strong growth during the present financial year. Addressing the Housing Industry Association National Conference in Adelaide, Mr Hawke said there'd been a spectacular recovery in the industry. A recent report indicated a 29% growth in the present financial year, with some 135,000 dwelling commencements predicted.
Mr Hawke enjoys being in the winner's circle, and today the Hilton Hotel audience made him feel welcome. In a year in which finance has eased, new homes are expected to rise this coming year. The job now for the industry was to stop the bubble bursting.
Thousands of Australians in the major capital cities today marched in protest at the growth of nuclear arms around the world. In both Melbourne and Sydney, crowds estimated at more than 100,000 people marched in silent protest and they listened to public speakers in various forms.
In Sydney, a crowd only slightly smaller than Melbourne's gathered in Hyde Park. Ironically, the War Memorial turned out at Kings Park for the march through the city centre to the Supreme Court Gardens.
In news after this break, Ross Andrews reports on a breakthrough for the disabled. This is Channel 9 News. The mystery death of Australian-born millionaire Christopher Wilder is still being probed by police, investigating a string of sex killings across the United States. Authorities say they may never know whether 39-year-old Wilder died by accident or by suicide during a struggle yesterday with the New Hampshire State Police detective. Detective Leo Jellison had Wilder in a bear hug when the gun went off outside a service station in the town of Colebrook on the Canadian border.
2 plainclothes state police detectives spotted Wilder's stolen car at this gas station yesterday afternoon. Authorities say one of the troopers approached Wilder and saw him reach inside his car. It's off this car, put them on this stolen Firebird and drove to New Hampshire.
Around Australia, a group of several hundred handymen, engineers and industrial designers is working to make life easier for handicapped people. The group is called Technical Aid to the Disabled. Our reporter in Canberra, Ross Andrews, went to the Kamari School for the Handicapped to report on one of the group's success stories.
David Evans is 18 years old, and for the first 17 years of his life, he's been
support for specific jobs. We find it difficult to get money into for our recurrent expenditure.
Police have charged a 32-year-old Builders Labourers Federation employee as a result of a demonstration in Melbourne 10 days ago. The man from the eastern suburb of Burwood faces 8 charges and is expected to appear in court this week. The charges include 4 counts of assault on members of the police force, 3 counts of assault occasioning bodily harm, and 1 count of willful damage.
The violent clashes with police erupted after 300 angry building workers stormed the offices of the Liberal Party headquarters on the 5th of April. Rubbish was strewn throughout the building and the Liberal Party... The man was released from the City Watch House on $1,000 bail and will appear in court on the 4th of June.
Dennis Lillee, the world's greatest fast bowler, has gone to England, but not to play cricket. Lillee, who announced his retirement from cricket earlier this year, is in England promoting eggs.
There are an awful lot of batsmen here who just love to do this to Dennis Lillee. And this. And this. Ouch. Fancy.
The name of Gauci is now a part of Australia's racing world through the outstanding achievements of Melbourne apprentice Darren Gauci. But here's a heartwarming story of another Gauci who may not have the same style as Darren, but nevertheless enjoys the love of a very special family.
A 2-month-old ringtail possum, but he's not your average, everyday run-of-the-mill ringtail possum. Gauci's family tree is a little bit different. Horse, well, a one-dog race, you can rest assured he'll always win hands down.
The line by 2 lengths.
Add to pool, 6 from 36, and these are the numbers that you require for this weekend. The numbers are 2, 13, 16, 18, 19, 31. That supplementary number is number 6. Once again, I haven't got them. Colin McNiff has a roundup of today's major sport following this break.
Good evening. Launceston runner Garth Foley today won the 1984 Tasmanian Marathon. The race conducted in and around Launceston was won in a time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, 14 seconds. More than 70 competitors lined up at York Park this morning for the gruelling event. Launceston Mayor Alderman Don Wing fired the starting pistol at 8 a.m. to send the runners on their way. 26 minutes 14 seconds was a personal best for Foley. Californian Mark Lai has preserved his lead in the US Masters Golf Championship despite rain stopping play in the 3rd round. At the halt of play, Lai was 9 below par after 11 holes, 1 ahead of Tom Kite. Playing in his first Masters, 31-year-old Lai refused to buckle under pressure and continued his fine play with birdies on the 2 par 5s of the front 9. With several players yet to complete their rounds, Ben Crenshaw is 2 strokes off the lead and Tom Watson 5 under with Nick Faldo, Larry Mize, Larry Nelson and Fred Couples.
Ben Crenshaw in the bunker on the 9th, 5 feet under the lip. Halted by that weather.
Zola Budd, the 17-year-old South African runner who's been granted British citizenship to allow her to compete in international athletics, has won her first race in Britain and her first in running shoes. Budd, the world's fastest woman over 5,000 metres, won a comparatively modest 3,000-metre race at an English women's club event at Dartford near London.
Normally barefoot, she wore spiked shoes for the first time because of track conditions. It wasn't long before the crowd was behind her. Behind as well with the British Olympic qualifying times.
And that's all in sport. Mike Welsh has the weather forecast right after this break.
Good evening, everybody. At the end of another great weekend. I hope yours was good. Mine was pretty good. Top of 26 degrees today recorded at Swansea on the east coast. And the overnight low was 1 at Butler's Gorge. Everywhere else around the state, varying from that 22 in Hobart, and it's drawn to King Island, 23 degrees. Around the capital cities for tomorrow, 33 degrees in Darwin and late showers. Just about everywhere else expecting either cloudy conditions or rain with the exception of Brisbane, and 26 degrees for Brisbane tomorrow. Around Tasmania, the northwest coast, Burnie and Devonport, top of around about 18 degrees for tomorrow. After overnight rain and early morning rain, will be mild for the rest of the day. In fact, those conditions relate right through the state tomorrow, the major centres. For Launceston, 11 to 19, mild and rain as well. Hobart, a similar temperature range, the top of 19, and mild conditions, but some intermittent rain, as well as the west and south coast, similar there. The north coastal waters now, northeast to northerly winds at 10 to 20 knots overnight, becoming southeast to southwesterlies late in the day. Seas slight to moderate and low swells. So at the end of another weekend, the start of a brand new week, it looks like rain.
Thank you, Mike. Well, next news on Channel 9, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning in the Today Show. On behalf of the crew, a very good night.